Hi Danny, today we are doing math lesson number 11. This one is really fun because it goes over addition stories with missing addends. And I'll explain what that means because it sounds a little complicated, but it's not really that complicated, especially not for you. You'll be able to figure it out super easy. So the first thing that we're going to do is the 100 addition facts, so get your pencil ready. And here we go. See you in a minute. Alrighty, hi Danny. We are doing lesson 11 today, and hopefully you just finished your 100 addition facts, so good job doing that. And we are going to continue on with mental math. And remember, in the past, what you've been doing is like adding 10 to a number, and then when you add 9 to a number, you realize that 9 is 1 less than 10, and so then you can just subtract 1 from the answer that you get when you add 10. So we're going to continue that concept, but it's going to be a little bit harder because we're going to be adding 30, 50, 40, and then we're going to be adding 21 less than those numbers, like 29, 49, 39. So you'll figure it out. I'm sure you will. So I'll just start with mental math A. And mental math A is, try to do this in your head, 28 plus 30. Okay, now we'll move on to B. B is 28 plus 29. I'm going to pause for a minute here because I want to tell you how cool I think this is. Because if someone had just told me, figure out what 28 plus 29 is, I would probably have to write that down and figure it out. But they're showing us a way to just do it in our heads. And that's pretty cool. You can do 28 plus 29 in your head because you just add 30 to it in your head and then subtract 1. Super cool. I love it. Let's do the next one. 37 plus 50. Okay, write your answer down. Then we'll do D, 37 plus 49. Ha, so cool. Okay, E is 56 plus 40. Okay, and then F, 56 plus 39. I love it. Isn't that cool? That was so much fun for me. Okay, now let's do problem solving. And for problem solving, this is the end of the warm-up. It's a word problem. And I called this little story, Marla and the Boxes of Cookies. Okay, but I'll just read to you the word problem. And you know what I want you to do this time is I want you to try to close your eyes while you listen to this little story and see if you can picture it in your head, because if you can picture it, I think you'll figure out what they're trying to ask you. Okay? All right, here we go. Marla and the Boxes of Cookies. The boxes of cookies were placed neatly on the shelf in 2 stacks. Marla saw the stacks and knew without counting that there was an even number of boxes. How did she know? Okay, well, did you picture it in your head? All right, so I think they're talking about a stack of boxes kind of like this, where these are boxes on top of each other. And they said there were 2 stacks. Now, even without counting, I know that I just drew an odd number of boxes. But in the story, it's an even number of boxes. So I'll erase that and I'll add 1 more box. And how did they know that it's even? See if you can figure that out. And I'm giving you a little hint here with that dotted line. Okay, we're going to move on to the new concept. All right, so what we have been doing in the past is when we've been doing some word problems that are sort of addition-based word problems. So addition-based or sometimes subtraction-based. Okay, but the idea behind them is that they tell you in the story that you start out with some of something. It can be boxes of cookies or whatever. Then you add some more. Okay, and then you end up with a total number of whatever it is. Okay, and so usually what they do is they give you this one and they give you this one, and then they want you to figure out what the total is. But you have already mastered that. So we're going to do something different. And in this situation, what they're going to do is they're going to give you something. It could be one of these. And then they're going to give you the total. And in this story, they're going to want to have you figure out what is the other unknown? And remember what these are called. This is an addend, and this is also an addend, and then this is a sum when we're talking about math. Okay, so you should remember those words. All right, so let's try it where we have to find one of the missing addends. And let's just do an example. So this example is example 1 on page 45, and it tells a story. And I titled this story, Walter's Marbles. It didn't really have a title, but that's what I called it. Okay, so I'm going to read the story to you. It says, Walter has 8 marbles. Okay, I'm going to write that down. He has 8 marbles. Then his friend Lamont gave him some more marbles. So I'm just going to write some more marbles. Okay. Walter has 17 marbles now. Okay. How many marbles did Lamont give him? All right, so let's look at the things that I wrote down and see if we can figure out what they're trying to ask us. So you can see from the pattern that the first thing to do is recognize the pattern. And the pattern is an addition pattern where you have some plus some more is going to be equal to a total. Okay, so in this situation, we're starting out with 8 marbles, and that is our first addend. Okay, and then we're going to add to that some more marbles. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense so far. And then when you add those together, you get 17 marbles, and this is the total. Okay, so this is just like I explained before. They gave you the total and they gave you one of the addends. And so how do you figure out what the other one is? Well, if I write that in a different way, it's going to look like this. 8 plus m for the number of marbles that we don't know that Lamont gave him is going to be equal to 17. And you are used to figuring out this kind of math problem all the time. So once you figure out the pattern of the story and you're able to figure out what they're trying to ask, are they asking for a missing addend or asking for a total, then you can figure out how to do the problem. Okay? So another way to ask this, another way to rewrite this is to say, well, 17 minus 8 is equal to m. And then that's kind of a way to figure it out. And you can see that m is equal to 9. And the units here are going to be marbles, so don't forget your units. M is equal to 9 marbles. Okay, let's go on to example 2. Example 2 is another story problem, so I gave it a title and I am calling it Jamie and the Pies. Okay, so here comes the story. Jamie had some pies. So I'm just going to write, he had some pies. It doesn't tell us how many he started with, but it just said, Jamie had some pies. Then Frank gave her 5 more pies. I guess Jamie is a girl. I didn't realize that. I guess it could be a girl's name. So this is Jamie. He has way more pies on top of that, it sounds like. Anyway, he had some pies. Then Frank gave her 5 more pies. Okay. And it says, Jamie now has 12 pies. Okay. How many pies did Jamie have at first? So look at the story and you can realize that it's another addition story. And you can also realize that they want us to figure out one of the missing addends. So this is the first addend, some pies. This is the second one. Frank gave her 5 more pies. And if you add those together, then you can see that the total is 12 pies. So this is the total. Okay? So this time I'm going to make a P for pie. Oh, actually they did an N in the book, so maybe I'll stick with an N so it's not confusing for you. So we'll call this N for a number of pies. So Jamie had a number of pies, then Frank gave her 5, and then she ended up with 12 total. Okay, so hopefully you understand why I wrote it in this way. And I think once you do, then you can solve that problem easily, because you can just say, well, 12 minus 5 is equal to what? Or what plus 5 is equal to 12? And you can see that it's 7. And if you're super smart and you want to check this answer, then what you do is you plug it in right here in place of the N, and then you have 7 plus 5 is equal to 12. Okay, that's the end of the lesson, and I'm going to tell you about the lesson practice in just a little bit, okay? Okay, Danny, I hope you enjoyed that lesson. Now it's time for you to do your lesson practice and your mixed practice. So the lesson practice starts here, okay? So you're going to do both of those, and then you're going to do the mixed practice. There's this down here, and then there is a whole other page of work, and then that's the end of it when you get to the bottom of that page. Okay, have fun doing your math, Danny. I will see you later. Love ya. Bye.